Hello.
Hello. Morning.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning. Is everybody in?
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning. Is everybody joined in?
30 people join.
Lesson table.
Okay, we'll give it 1 more minute for people to join in and then we'll start. Okay, I think we can get started, and then, as and when the teams join, we'll take it up from there, right? So today's session is primarily going to be about the presentations and all the all the different work that you folks have done, and I have all the files. I received all the files. I've kind of gone through them. So maybe what we would do is we will give everybody around 10 minutes the presentations what they have made, and they can talk through. For example, if if Comtech Dharwad has made some presentations, they would want to talk about it. If Chirag Infotech Shimoga has made some presentations, I would ask them to kind of talk about it, right, and present it to the larger audiences and the class here. Then we'll have some Q&A, some discussions around them, and that is how we will kind of go forward. Right? Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Sure. So I will I have all the presentations with me, and I will pick up. I'll pick up the institute, and then they can kind of talk about it, right? So let me start with and give me a moment. I'll just kind of pick it up, right? So let me start with Chirag Infotech. Is Chirag Infotech present here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I see there are two presentations which you have made, online event organizer and also the zoo surveillance, right? So take some time to talk about these two presentations. And you can decide who's going to present and who's going to talk.
Sir, I'm Maitri from Chirag Infotech Shimoga.
Hmm.
Sir, we are going to do a project on zoo surveillance, sir.
Right.
Firstly, zoos are divided into small, large, mini, and medium sized based on their regions in hectares and the number of species present in there. So
Yeah.
here we are in Shimoga.
Yes.
So we are in Shimoga. Here we have Shimoga Zoo and Safari. The Shimoga Zoo and Safari will really stand for us having uh, many different types of species.
So what was this project about? What
Sir,
technology were you trying to use?
Sir, we are aiming to develop a new web application for the zoo staff to maintain the records of the visitors coming to the zoos and to maintain the veterinary doctors' reports for the animals.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
We have done literature survey on the. We have found only one paper on the Mysore Zoo, sir. We
Mhm.
referred that paper, and we are aiming to do that project, sir.
Okay. So what are you trying to achieve out of it?
Sir, we help the zoo staffs to use the web applications to store the data of the visitors
Okay.
and the data of the data and physical health of the animals.
How,
And
how
we
how will that help? How will the data stored for the visitors who's visiting the zoo will be useful for the health of the animals?
sir, we will collect the data from the doctors about that animal
Mm-hmm.
so that we can see the reports, sir.
Okay. No, so I'm not able to understand one part of it. So you are saying that the data you would collect is from the visitors who visits the zoo,
Yes, sir.
right? So for example,
Yes,
if I am a visitor and I visit the zoo, my data will be recorded over there, right?
yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then how is my data related to
Yes.
the animal data?
Sir, as a visitor, we will add our data like we are an adult, or others we can if the visitors come along with their family, we can divide they are the adults and they are the children like
Yeah.
that, sir.
Yeah.
The data will be stored in that. If the visitor is sorry, sir, if the staff is inputs the data about the visitors, he is a child or he is a adult like that, we can store the data, sir, for the visitors. We can have the records for that.
Yes, I
And
understand that. I understand
yes,
that. Like, we can have the data for the visitors, but how are you going to use this data of the visitors? How will it benefit?
sir, it will reduces the paper use for paper uses, sir. It will be very eco-friendly.
Okay. But isn't that something anyways, that is very common? Like that is something, because nowadays, hardly people use paper anyway. They're all trying to kind of, collect the data, digitally. But I'm just
Yes,
still
sir.
trying to understand how will that help? And you mentioned, there's something to do with the animals and their welfare. How will that be related to this?
Sir, actually, we visited the zoo once, like we are doing field work. Actually, there is no software, like proper software in Shimoga Zoo Safari.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
only the ticket section have the software, like to give the tickets and collect the tickets like that. Apart from that, everything is like record, they're keeping in papers. So to help them, we are aiming to do this. And actually, there are many different modules, like the different modules, like executive director who will maintain all the records. Then apart from this, we have zoo hospital, like veterinarian. He will maintain the like animals health, dietary plan, all those
Okay.
like that.
Okay, so animals, I think it's a good idea, maintaining the health of the animals, dietary plans, etc. So, how are you planning to do that?
Sir,
Like I'm saying, it's a good idea to talk about maintaining the health of the dietary plans for the animals, etc. But how are you planning to do that? What are the things you would do to ensure that, you're able to do that? What data will you collect? From where will you collect? How is that related to the animals' dietary plan?
So
I'm curious to
actually,
know
we are
that.
in the zoo like field works. Actually, once we have visited and we have got to know that there is no proper software. And again, we are thinking to go this way and do the field work, like how they are properly there, how they'll get to know like this species needs this food and how much time it will sleep. Everything we are going to record, sir. Then we have a data. We have to create a database and we have to.
Okay. All right. And I also see that, you have mentioned here in your presentation, uh, the project will provide a new way to maintain the visitor entries, which you talked about, by saving ticket information in the database. I understand that. The system
ಬೇರೆ
reduces
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೇರ್ವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ
the system.
ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ
Sorry, who is speaking?
ನಾನೇ
The system reduces the time needed to enter diary and health records, start book. So is this what you're talking about? In terms of the system will help to reduce the time needed to enter the diary and the health records. Is that what you're saying for the animals?
yes, sir.
Okay. Got it. All right. I also see, like, you have the Chirag Infotech team has also worked on the online event organizer. Would you be able to talk a little bit more about this?
So actually, those two were absent. Those two had some exams, so they didn't come. Sir.
Okay, fine. We can talk about that later. Fine. Thank you. No, so I think this is a good topic that you have chosen in terms of the zoo surveillance. But I think what is important is you need to have a more robust integration of the idea and the execution, right? So maybe when you go to the field, you will realize that probably where the gaps are and where you see, because at the end of the day, you are kind of trying to manage this entire project based on the impact of some technology which will help the operations of the zoo, right? That's the overall idea. So when you go to the field, you try to identify where the gaps are, and then trying to, let's see, you mentioned two things. One is collecting visitor data, which is fine. Second is ensuring that the animal health welfare. So try and understand that if the animals need to be benefited, right, what is the current process there? What do they do? What are the step one, step two, step three, step four they do right now? And then you see, in the right now method, where is the gap and how technology can come into the picture. Right. So that should be your objective and that should be your goal, because the gap analysis is going to be important, because only then you will be able to recommend that what kind of technology would you use. When you gather the data, what will you do with the data? How will you process the data? What kind of system software will you develop? So all those things will come into the picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, step by step, right? So that's going to be my feedback. So maybe the next time when we speak, you can have more information around this as well.
Sure, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll move on to the next, group, which is CK Tech, Rajaji Nagar. Are they present? CK Tech, Rajaji Nagar. Are they present? CK Tech? Okay, I don't see them. Fine. Then can we?
Naina, please speak. Naina?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sir is calling her. Can answer?
Ma'am, students are not there, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Move on. Let's move on. So, see, students are not there, then I think you are missing the opportunity, as sir has clearly said. So whenever they are there, we can talk later. But right now, if they are not there, we can't do much about it. Right? The next group is Comtech Dharwad. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning. So I see you have submitted two. That is, one is smart farming, and the other is vehicle plate detection, right? So let's talk about these two. So maybe we can start with the smart farming first. Explain what this project is about, what you are doing, and why you are doing this, and how you are doing this, right?
First, so there are two groups in Concord Dharwad. So
Yeah.
ours is smart farming, and other one is a faculties that they have been coming because they have the classes. So now smart farming, I will tell about the smart farming.
Yeah, we can talk about smart farming. Yes.
Just we have chosen this as a smart farming for our project because first of all in agriculture, day by day agriculturing suicides and all are being cases are more. So they can't afford anything to purchase anything, purchase a lot of things like pesticides or any other technologies. So to make them easier, we have prepared one drone so that they can cultivate more crop yield and very much quality yield by just a minute, sir. For this precision agriculture, we have a more strategy like analyzing the crop, how the crop is getting yield, and which crop has been decayed. So for that place, we are spraying a pesticides or fertilizer. So not for the whole land, because the yield market. So we have got an idea to even fertilizer or pesticides to a particular plant or a yield to the area which is affected.
Okay.
And how the soil and the water level in the soil has been tested. There is a sensor we have created into it to check the quality of the soil and how much yield we can cultivate in a particular land or a particular area of a land, so that we can give a more yield and a good yield to the farmer.
Okay.
So that can improve the crop yield.
Okay. So how are you using technology there?
We are keeping a sensor which can detect the infected plant. We have an
Sorry, I didn't understand the last part.
Sir, instead of spraying a whole pesticides to a big land, we can just make a note of where the infected plant or a crop will be given a pesticides or fertilizer to that, sir.
Okay. And how are you determining that? How are you finding that out?
So we kept a sensor to identify the infections or decay in the plant, so that we can monitor in our laptops or mobile in storing the data in the cloud, so that we can access from there and take a precaution by seeing in our remote controlling. We can make a judging that which crop and which part of the area has been infected, so that we can put very early the fertilizer or pesticides to that, and so we can get at a time the same yield.
Okay, so you are saying it's the sensors which will help to detect that, like
Yes.
the sensors where you have put, right? And what kind of sensors and what kind of technology are you using in that sensors basically? And where is the sensor getting monitored? Like from the sensor, where are you seeing the data? Like how is that connected?
So we can use a GPS location to that, sir.
Okay.
By connecting the GPS locations, and we can access through our remote controlling like mobile or laptops.
Okay.
So that we can monitor where the crop has been decaying or spoiling.
Okay.
And we also get the same yield at a time, so that farmer cannot be a disappointment with that. So keeping the main in mind that nowadays in a growing population, the agricultural land field has been decreased. So
Yeah.
that the farmer is very upset about that the crop yield. So in a given piece of a land, they can yield more and better and very good quality for that.
Okay. Okay. All right. And how do you plan and who are you working with this? Is it some sort of a agency you're working with this? Is some institution you're working with this? Who are you working with this?
Some institutions, sir.
Okay. All right. Fine. No, thank you. I think this is good. So one feedback which I will add is like, I think your idea about sensors, using the GPS tracker in the sensors and marking that area of in the land where that like, infected plants can be kind of, looked at and pesticides are like, sprayed over there. I think it's a great idea. Do a little bit more deeper research into like, the actual operations on the ground. While this theory is great, I mean, like, it's great to kind of hear, but in reality, like, what could be the different challenges? You need to also understand, like, when you actually go and implement the sensors, or like, how does the mapping happen with the GPS, etc. I think those are the on ground, like, realities, like, which we also need to understand. There could be some other challenges. What if there's a rain, or there is a flood, or like, will the sensors still be there, or will the sensors get like, affected? I think those are different. And what about the different natural calamities that can happen, right? So I think those are the challenges which you also need to call out, and you also need to plan for it, that if that happens, then what is the backup plan, right? The other thing is, I think you also need to probably it might be a good idea, if you are able to define the business impact or the impact of it, or quantify the impact of it by saying that if I am able to reduce and focus only on that particular area of spraying, then what kind of cost benefit will it give me, or what kind of how will it help to increase the crop production maybe by x, 2x, 3x, whatever, right? And so basically bringing out the business impact part of it. I think that would be a very good way to sum this up, because then you are saying that not only am I using technology, I am doing this XYZ. At the same time, by doing this, this is the kind of business impact I'm trying to propose, right? So I think that tying the story of bringing in that business impact is also important. And this is true for all, not only for Comtech Harvard, but it is also true for everybody who is kind of working on such projects. It's important to include the business impact as much as possible, wherever possible, right?
Implement this in the upcoming days, sir.
Yes, sure. When we speak more later, we would like to see how this project is evolving, right? I think that is great. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you so much. All right. We go to Kavita Computers.
Yes,
and
sir.
There are 4 presentations I can see. So which one
Yes.
would you want to start with?
Sir, first, Reshma.
Okay. Can't
Good
hear.
morning, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
So, okay, our topic is cloud-based attendance tracking system. Our
Yes.
project title is.
Yeah.
Okay. There are 4 members in my team. That is Reshma, Shruti, Shalini, and Elali,
Yeah.
under the guidance of Abhilash sir
Yeah.
and Ranjit.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next slide, introduction. Attendance and attendance monitoring plays a very important role in our education system as well as in our IT to keep a track of all the employees' attendance, and which will help to calculate a minimum attendance requirement of a student, so that we could able to send that minimum attendance requirement to their parents or any guardians of that particular student. And we can even generate a visual representation of that attendance.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next slide, like how does it work? We were planning for that is like we can track the attendance marking with the help of a biometric or a mobile application, web-based app. We can store that. We can track the attendance with the help of these devices like IoT devices, and we can store it in the cloud server with the help of an internet connection. And with the other interface, we can even access it like mobile and we can generate a report for that about their attendance. We can calculate about that, and so that's what. So moving on to the next slide, why we are doing this project is first of all, we can reduce paperwork, as well as we can we usually spend a lot of time for planning our attendance in a school and a colleges, but we can reduce that thing also. For that, we used to maintain a separate Excel sheets, and we have to follow up that. That is quite difficult. So if we use this technology, it will be quite easy to maintain all this thing and save hours of planning also as well. And a payroll system is nothing but a worker is been paid for the amount of time he has been worked for. With the help of this, we can even calculate that thing also very easily. Yeah.
Okay.
So moving on to next slide, that is operational benefits, which will help us to improve our communication skill with the team members. Usually we'll be not communicate with somebody else if we were not having a common topic. If we were working on some project, then it is very quite easy to communicate with on common topic, and we can share a lot of things. They will be having a different idea about that project. We will be having a different idea about that project. So which could improve our presentation skill also. It is going to improve. And when we were working on this project, we have gone through many websites where we are going to learn few of the new technologies as well. Easy collaboration with the team members when we were having this particular projects, and being a practical example, I will be more confident than previous when we were working on particular projects. So this literally, okay, this increases our leadership quality as well. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, that is nice. This is good. I think you know, you have called out things very clearly.
Yes.
So and of course, like, you know, I think in the presentation you have clearly showed, like, you know, what are the operational benefits. Then like, you know, you're talking about the cloud-based attendance tracking system. You have drawn that that diagram, which clearly
Yes,
talks
sir.
about, like, you know, how the steps are, right?
Yes,
So I
sir.
think this is good. I don't have too much of feedback, like, you know, to kind of, you know, share here, but this is good. Like, you know, what we'll have to do is, like, you know, I think as this progresses further, we'll see, like, you know, how this develops overall, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So there are some other like, you know, presentations from Kavita Computers as well.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
would you want to present them as well?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
1 minute, sir.
Okay,
Jyoti will explain.
Okay, sure.
Wait, Jyoti has to do it. So screen is visible.
It's showing blank right now.
1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
So now,
Yeah, it is fine. Yeah, I can see.
okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Yep.
My name is Jyoti from Kavita Computers. We are created a project on blood bank via cloud computing. My teammates are Sangmesh, Naveen, Vishwa, and me. This project is done by under the guidance of Saujanya ma'am and Abhilash sir.
Okay.
Introduction. Moving to next slide. The introduction of blood bank via cloud computing. This application is mainly aims to tracking the donors by needing blood during emergency situation. And by using cloud, it is very easy to access anywhere, and it is highly reliable, and it is stores the data, and it is very security purpose also. We can record the donors, patients, and hospitals, and stock with the help of cloud, because it is very security purpose. This is a high advantages in cloud also. And we have to search for required blood type, because in sometimes we in real time we can go for search family members of same blood group, and also patients, we connect the patients donors also. With the help of this, we can connect patients donor on time with blood requirement also. This application is very reliable to hospitals also.
Right.
And next, by doing this project, we can help the hospitals, patients, and donors details by keeping the donor details safely and giving to right time to the hospitals.
Okay.
And next by doing this project, it builds the team quality, like we having challenges to searching all these things, and we have to search what project is going on and how it is, and also it builds a problem solving skills also. And while doing the communication with the team members, we improve our communication skills also, and they are also having different knowledges with communicating with all those peoples. We are also having knowledges from other topics with those we are not knowing anything. And it also builds self confidence also. By motivating the team members, we improve our self confidence, and we improve our knowledge also, and we achieve the goals.
Yeah, so these are not operational benefits. See, communication skills, gaining domain knowledge, confidence, these are nothing to do with operations. These are all self-learning, right?
Okay.
Operational benefit would be like, based on the project. Like, go to the previous slides.
Okay.
Why are you doing this project and how are you doing this project? I think that is important. So you are saying like, the main aim of creating a cloud-based blood bank system, right, is to make availability on time. So basically a cloud-based system would be able to help you to track the data in the requirement, maintaining like, X is required, Y is available. So how are you able to maintain that requirement is important. And then once you know there is a requirement, how does that, like, typically the demand and supply work? So tomorrow, if a hospital requires some sort of a blood, then the system will show you there is an availability percentage. And if there is an availability percentage, then from where, this would be kind of, done, right? So I think that's important.
Okay, sir. Okay. Can I have the doctor? Okay. Next. Because of a cloud, we can apply HIPAA compliances also in this blood bank system, sir.
Yes, so exactly the point. So which means like, your operational efficiency is going to be like, how you are making that impact.
Yes, sir. I know. Yes, sir.
So that is something what you will be able to you're supposed to kind of talk about, right?
Yes. Next.
So that's the operational benefit of it.
It maintains the donor informations with security by applying HIPAA compliances.
Correct. So those are the ones like, which you need to talk about a business and operational impact. That is important, rather than saying that like, it's a self-development kind of thing. So those are there for any project whoever is going to work on, not necessarily only you, but anybody who works on a team obviously will get those benefits, right? So
yes,
that's important. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. The next group.
Sir, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
So my name is Rajshekar from Kalburgi Kavita Computers and IT Services, sir, under guidance of Abhilash sir and Dr. Anita Valia, Madam and Saujanya ma'am. We are going to explain today about smart traffic management and using IoT and cloud, sir. Okay. So as we all know, sir, today day by day in the increasing population and under the luxurious life, what happened is we are all suffering from traffic issues, which is majorly affecting. It may be time, it may be economically, or it may be any hospital emergencies. We all already go through that, and we are suffering also. Now, using this technology, what we are going to use is, sir, the smart traffic management system is a technology solution where the cities can integrate, where they can decentralize the time management and their efficiency of working and maintaining the timings. It may be which will be helpful for police departments or any VIPs which are emergency passing vehicles. It may be ambulances where these devices are installed. IoT devices are installed. Sensors are installed to the respective devices, which deviates the vehicle where the load of traffic is there, where the huge traffic is there, where they these sensors will deviate. Where by using this cloud system, what happens is the data is transferred immediately by using CCTV cameras, surveillance devices, sensors. What happens is we will move under this. The vehicles will be deviated, where they can easily where is no more traffic dependencies are there. The vehicle will be deviated, sir.
Yeah.
That is
so
the
how
first.
how is it different from what is happening now? What is the new thing you are bringing in here?
So here, what happens is we are using so many. We are using some devices which is which are used to prone, sir. A human error sign. This is a big concern.
Yeah, but that's fine. But are you saying that this is something which is absolutely new and the traffic management systems are not using it at all? Because there are automated traffic system that is getting used. So how are you improving upon that process?
So using this GPS applications like mapping already, which is existing maps are there. Using that, using the routes, we will work on that, sir.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
So I think what you will need to call out here is one, how are you in the presentation basically, right? I mean, your concept is fine. Your whatever you talked about is that is okay. But you will need to kind of come up with what is it that you are doing something new and how. That is important. And what could be the potential challenges? Because it's not that this is something which is not being tried out, or this is something new, but people have been finding different challenges. And what could the challenges be? For example, in a country like India, where the traffic system is very chaotic, then how are you kind of not doing that versus maybe a country in abroad, right? So I think these things are important. So bring out the challenges as well, right?
So still we people are working on that, sir.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine. And when we talk later, we'll understand. But I'm just giving you the feedback that for this project, I think you should also bring out what are the challenges are. I think that will be important as well, because only then you'll be able to fix it, because this concept is not new. Concept is something which has been there for a long time.
Already
existing, right?
concept,
so how are you bringing a difference? How are you fixing the challenges? How are you identifying? I think that those things are important.
So yet we are preparing on that, sir. Actually, still we are preparing on that. In next session, we will give the detailed information regarding this.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. And I think there is one last Kavita Computers presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, visually impact for voice-based. Voice-based email for visually impaired person, sir. We are presenting our topic.
Yep.
In our group, Pooja Patil, Sachin, and me, Dharam Rao, and Shweta. Introduction. This is the IoT-based application, sir. It is for a visually impaired person, sir, to help her to go somewhere and they do not depend on others, sir.
Okay. So what are you doing about it? What exactly are you doing?
To help the visual impaired person, sir.
Yes, I understand. But how are you proceeding ahead with it? What exactly are you doing? Again, this concept is nothing new.
Yes, sir. By giving the voice direction to the mail to help the person, sir. By Gmail, sir. using user can sign in the voice to sign in the device, and he can give our voice and it process the data, sir. And it will receive the mail and or send the mail, sir, to the user, sir.
Okay, so I am not very clear that I understand how is this working. So I would need more clarity. So while I can see the flow, you are saying the user sign in, voice command, etc., but I would need the explanation to be much more. So you would need to explain this well. Maybe next time when we speak, you need to kind of explain this, saying like exactly what is happening at what stages, right? You can maybe show a visual diagram also. You can, I mean, other than this flowchart, what you're showing right now, you can actually show in visually, like this is how the impact is happening, this is how the flow is happening, and this is where like the data is getting processed, and this is how like the device are being used, etc., is something that like is being used, right? So
yes, sir.
So that way.
Okay, sir.
That's important, right? So yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
okay,
sir.
Anyway, but I think overall fine. Overall that's fine. Okay, all right. Now moving on to the next batch, right? So KTC Hubli, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So would you like to present? I see there are two presentations here for KTC Hubli.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So maybe you can start.
Yes, sir. Our project is control and analysis of the electricity consumption via AI using Python. Our introduction is in the era of increase of electricity prices per unit area. Electricity is an essential part of modern life, and people use electricity for lighting, heating, cooling, and we are using for refrigeration and for operating appliances like computers, electronics machinery, and public transportation system.
Yeah.
In our project, we are calculating electricity consumption in kilowatt per hour. It's like appliance wattage into our usage. We are calculating upon that. Nowadays, what's happening is we use lot of electricity and we are wasting lot of electricity whenever it is not necessary. To overcome that, we need to use the electricity consumption. Cost of the overhead is the most important factor that we use in calculating cost of service to be delivered or cost of product to be manufactured. Hence, we need a system that will monitor and control the electricity consumption, increase the productivity and reducing the operational cost of the office like home and factory and commercial places, etc. The project is aimed at the reduction of electricity consumption using various sensors via IoT, and it is controlled via AI with Python also.
Okay.
Benefits like in this project, what we are doing is we are replacing a traditional method that is manual on and off for the electricity into automatic sensor-based switching of power to appliances. Control of power to appliances individually, like for example, we are using television, refrigeration, and ACs. We need to adopt a sensor-based switching of power to these appliances. We need to calculate graphical analysis of electricity consumption or the pre and post implementation of the project. And we need to predict the electricity consumption and comparison to the previous spending.
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So I see you are saying that project is aimed at reducing the electricity and you are using Internet of Things and edge devices, right? So how are you using them? Like, what exactly are you doing?
Within the home, yeah. Within the home appliances market, a growing number of smart appliances are incorporating sensors to enable advanced sensing and control sensor technologies for position level and speed and control of being and across the broad array of appliances to deliver accuracy, reliability, and maintaining the efficiency. We are using a temperature sensor, pressure sensor, and humidity sensors, and detecting motion and alert homeowners when they are away. In street lights, also in washrooms, there is a lot of electricity wastage is happening. To avoid that wastage, we are using sensors.
Okay, all right. And what is the cost benefit analysis of this? You're talking about operational benefits by talking about automatic sensor based switching, control of power, etc. All these things I understand, but is there any cost benefit analysis that you can show? By doing this, we'll be saving so much of cost.
Yes, we can reduce the cost. We have to calculate for our how much electricity is using.
Yeah.
Based on that, yearly we need to calculate.
Yeah, I think that will be a very important component, because a project of this, whenever you're talking about a utility, and energy and electricity is an utility, right? There is automatically going to be some cost that it gets as a benefit, right? So you need to bring that in the project, saying by doing this, this is how we are able to save the cost. That's important.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another KTC Hubli presentation, greenhouse management.
Yes, sir. Namrata is there, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
I'm audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, but the voice is breaking.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Activities on greenhouse management using Python and C. And under the guidance of
your voice is breaking. Voice is breaking.
Continue.
So internet. Hello. Now it's audible, sir.
It's still coming. It's better, but it's still breaking a bit. Keep trying.
Hello.
Yep.
Greenhouse management using Python and IoT. The introduction about this is climate condition monitoring systems that can access anywhere in any time through the internet is built. With the system, you only monitor the greenhouse climate conditions from anywhere, which would save the human expensive. And this climate condition monitoring is one type of recorder that monitors a temperature, water level, moisture, and light in the greenhouse room, and stores the data into a database and display the current temperature on the website through a web server. This system is continuously monitoring this temperature, soil, moisture, and light conditions of the environment. And the data can be monitored at any time and anywhere from the internet.
Right.
And these we are using the sensors also. These sensors sense various parameters and are then sent to Raspberry Pi. Means Raspberry Pi also is used, sir.
Yeah, so I can see you have once again. So I've seen you have put in a lot of these technologies and called them out, right? But this is more of the technology. But what's the business impact again, right? I told this earlier to somebody else in the class as well. So while using the technology is important, but you also need to bring in the business impact in the presentation. right? So typically, if you're saying greenhouse provides an environment to grow plants all around the year, etc., etc. So somewhere you are talking about a business which is about sustainability, which is environment and eco-friendly, right? So by doing this, what is the impact you're creating in a business, in the universe, society, whatever? I think that is something which you would need to bring in, and then you should say, in order to do this, this is the technology we are using, and also by saying using Python, or using a Raspberry or sensors such as LM35 temperature, etc., which is okay, you're calling this out, but somebody who doesn't understand technology will not understand this thing. You have to make it simplified. You have to say what is the function of each one of them, and how are you integrating and tying the dots between each one of them, right? Then for a layman who doesn't understand anything and who looks at this presentation will be able to instantly realize, okay, fine, this is what we are doing, right? So I would say that's how you should be breaking things up.
In process, I will explain later.
Yeah. So work on this, and try to create a much more easy and simple story out of it, right? Okay, but thank you, but this is good overall. All right, thank you. Okay, we move to SH system.
Yes, sir.
I see there are two presentations over here. So one is like the mass campaigning system using AWS, and the other is blood bank management system, I think, which is kind of a common to also one of the groups that we presented. So let's hear about mass campaigning system using AWS.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Madan Kumar. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
So we have selected the topic mass campaigning system using AWS for our projects.
Okay.
And our team members are Wajida, Madan Kumar, Mohammad Ayaz, Bhagraj Vinod, Afsam Mohammad. And team supervisors are Sweta, Jay Madam, Aftaf sir, and Madan sir.
Okay.
It comes to introduction, sir. Mass campaigns are usually held to send a single message to a large group of people within a short period. And mass campaigns are commonly used in sectors like education, business, marketing, elections, and also in health sectors. Why mass campaigning? It has large scope, sir. So each and everyone can get the message we are sending, and increases our sales, brand awareness, cost, and it saves our time. So we can reach each and every person to recommend our business or our brands. And due to its it is a low cost, so every small business organization can afford this service.
Okay, I'll just stop you there. Right? I have looked at the presentation. So I'm seeing that, you're saying why mass campaigning, large scope, increased sales, brand awareness, cost and time efficiency, and then required services is Amazon email services, Amazon Pinpoint, etc. And that's fine, right? My first question to you would be, why would you do a mass campaigning at all? Is mass campaigning the right thing to do in marketing versus more focused and targeted campaigning to do in marketing? That's the first question. Why would I want to spam the users by doing a mass campaigning?
Because
so I think,
advertisement
yeah, go ahead.
advertisements cost are for cost like it is high for small organizations. So if there is a startup or any other small organizations, it has to spend a portion of its amount for advertisements itself for its popularity and that stuff. So by using mass campaigning applications, it will be easy to send. Like most of them are in the today's time. Most of them are in mails and other stuff, emails and other.
No, I'll correct you. No, you're wrong. You're completely wrong here, right? The first thing to remember is like, mass campaigning is the last thing you should do in this world. You should never do mass campaigning. Because the moment you start doing mass campaigning, you are most likely to be ignored by the users. Who likes to receive 10,000 emails in their inbox, and what's the open rate? So if I ask you this question, saying that by doing this email, what is the amount of open rate will you get, and what is the amount of business you are kind of going to get, right? It's hardly going to be anything. And by the way, all the top organizations in the world like Amazon's email marketing is considered one of the best. Even they don't do mass marketing. They are very targeted. They're only based on audience segmentation is where they do the campaigning. So this entire concept itself is not correct. If you are talking about an email marketing campaign, which is a very targeted and segmented campaign to a very segmented set of audiences, then I can understand that how you're going to be using a particular technology to automate that, right? But not mass campaigning. Mass campaigning is considered as spam. And secondly, to your question around mass campaigns are widely used to expose high proportions or no. I mean, yes, that is exactly what people make a mistake about. They think that mass campaigning will reach out to the larger. Who opens up email campaign? Tell me. How many times do you yourself open an email when you see it in an inbox? Hardly. Right. So while the logic about email and using AWS is okay, but the mass campaigning is not correct. So I think you should change your project. You should change your project by looking at if you really want to include an example of an email campaign, which is fine. But how will you do that email campaign? Maybe you can talk about automation. Maybe you can talk about segmentation. Maybe you can talk about which customer to send what kind of emails. When will I send a customer a particular kind of an email? What is the logic behind it? I think those are important.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That's my feedback. All right. So we can talk about this later, but then that's my feedback. But this concept itself is not going to be helpful. Never look at mass campaigning. Okay. Next. So there were some blood bank synopsis also that's mentioned over here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So good morning, sir. I'm Halima Sadia from Message System.
Yeah.
We have selected blood bank management system.
Yeah.
Our team members and our supervisors are Shweta ma'am, Altaf sir, and health representative Madan sir.
Yeah.
So as we have seen, the population of the world is multiplying with each coming year, and so are the diseases and health issues. Right. With an increase in the population, there is also an increase in the need of blood. The growing population of the blood results in a lot of potential blood donors. But in spite of this, not more than 10% of the world population participates in blood donations. So with the growing population and advancement in medical science, the demand for blood has also increased.
Okay.
Due to the lack of communication between the blood donors and the blood recipients, and because of this, most of the patients in need of blood do not get blood on time and hence lose their lives. The main problem in blood banks, what goes on, the problem we can say is the need of synchronization between the donors and the hospitals, or we can say blood banks. There is no correct synchronization, no communication happens in between them. That leads to wastage of blood which is already available in the bank, as well as the blood which is collected by the donor, the fresh blood we can.
Right.
This problem can be dealt with we can say by automating the existing manual blood banks management system. That is, we can say high availability and scalable system has to be developed in the blood bank management system to manage or to bridge the gap between the donors and the recipient to reduce reduce the efforts required to search for blood. How much of effort people will be running from?
Yes, understood. I think this is very similar to what the other group also presented. So my question would be like, what are you doing about it? What is the process and what are the steps?
Now talking about our project, in our project we are going to deploy a website.
Yeah. They're going to deploy a website, yes.
Website on AWS using a software Python and database will be like MySQL. How AWS services are used in this project? What are we actually going to use is like Amazon S3 and Amazon EC2 for storage and to deploy our website. With the help of these services, it is more easier to maintain this management system. Next, as you know, blood bank management system, it is a system that is designed to store, process, retrieve, analyze information with the help of administrators and to inventory management within the blood bank. Yes, sir. Now, share.
Okay, sir. Why we chosen the blood bank management system to help the wasting the time in hospitals, sir. Like going to hospitals and searching for blood. Instead, we can with the help of our website, we can come to know about what is the availability of blood in a particular hospital and the type of blood groups they are available. And our main aim is to help the rural people in case if the rural people come to know about the exact blood bank management system, they can take advantage of this website so that they can immediately reach the hospital, or else they can get to know which hospital has the percentage of blood groups or blood so that they can easily go to that hospital. Okay. And to reduce and we with our website, we also keep the track of details about the blood bank, blood group, blood bank, and the stock, and to help the people in case of emergencies.
Now, the proposed system on our website is like the main thing is, when we link our website to each and every hospital which is nearby the rural as well as in the cities. So whenever there is a requirement of blood, the user will log in or sign in and do all that stuff and will take all the information. The user will be provided by when we open the website.
Okay.
In the first page, what we say the home page, it will have the options like locate nearby blood bank, instruction for donation. Like if someone want to donate blood, then what are the requirements he should fulfill? Like what are the rules he should go through? He should not donate blood in a span of 3 months. Again and again he can't donate. After 3 months he should donate, like that.
Okay.
All those rules will be there for him. Like if someone I want to donate blood, then I should go through all that. If I am eligible, then only I can donate. Also, we are trying to keep what we say blood camps. Blood camp every 3 months there will be a blood camp on so and so date. If someone wants to donate our blood, donate their blood, then they can register themselves.
Right.
And they can donate their blood. These are all the things which our website will be, which we are deploying in our website, sir. These are the options.
Okay.
Like FAQs, there will be a lot of FAQs from the users, like what to ask, when to donate, timing, and all those things. All those things will be there, sir.
Okay, sure. Okay, all right. Fine. So I think I get what you're trying to say. Again, a pretty similar feedback. So basically, when you're trying to have a story, and this is something like, again, which we know that this is not new. People are trying to solve this problem, right? So, like for example, if you say it helps to avoid wasting time in hospital, yes, that's true. It is time to saving with the complexities, to reduce manual work. All these things we understand. What we would like to know is how. That how part is not coming out very clearly in the presentation. While you are saying this, but in the presentation that needs to come out as well. right? So I think that's my feedback. Like, while you are saying what you are trying to solve, what is the purpose, that is clear, right? The how you articulated, like, you did mention some points while you were speaking and when I was asking, but in the presentation also, if you are able to bring this visually, step by step. So always remember, like, and this is a feedback for everybody, not only for you. A presentation is something like, which clearly articulates or talks about step by step what you are doing. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and the visual implication, right? Simply by saying, like, to track all the details about blood group or to reduce manual work, these are very generic sentences, right? While yes, they are correct, but they are generic. You need to make it more specific. You need to make it like, more step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That is where, like, everybody will understand, okay, this is how you are actually talking about it. These are the 5 things you are doing. It should be very clear as possible, right? So that's my feedback. Otherwise, the concept is fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. We have Sharp Computers next. Sharp Computers, are you there?
Good morning, sir. This is Sharp Computers.
Yes, good morning. And I think there are 2 presentations which you have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So maybe we can start with the first one and then move on to the second one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll be doing with the ANN part, sir. Identifying the fake profiles using the ANN.
Yes. Okay. Present that. No problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I would like to give a small introduction.
Yeah.
We are in a project. We are trying to identify whether the social account which we give as an input is a genuine or fake account through artificial neural network.
Yes.
Whenever we give a new test data, we will be having a trained data, sir. Like we will be having a trained model which will be taking the input and doing all the calculations according to the algorithm which will be providing.
Yeah.
And we will give the output whether the account which you have entered it is a genuine or fake account.
Yeah.
And then why are we doing this project? We have gone through some research papers and other problems also, sir, but we are not getting any particular solution that like how to differentiate whether the account is fake or genuine. So generally we will be doing it manually, sir. Like if we get an anonymous text from, for example, if we get an anonymous text from any account, so we will be searching like, do we know this person or we have any common friends or no? Like if we don't know that person, then we can check the common friends if we are having. On that, then we can ask that person like, do you know him? He's texting me and all. So what our algorithm does is that we can directly put the user ID or whatever the account details is there.
Yeah.
And by the algorithms which we have done, it will be calculating based on the post count, comment count, followers or location, etc. And by that, it will be telling that whether the account which details you have given it is a genuine account or fake account.
Yeah.
So and the concepts which we'll be using will be like artificial neural network, like which will be doing the all the processing part. We'll in the algorithms we are choosing for right now. We have the random forest algorithm. So it will be like all the data and classifying into like genuine or fake. And then for that we use Python language also, so specifically because it has many built-in libraries which we can take best use out of and process the data and all. And who will be benefited is that our main purpose is that a common man should also have the facility to get to know that, because he will be struggling sometimes. There will be like harassment also, so a few things. So we need to know whether the text coming from that person is a genuine or someone is doing the impersonation. Like we'll be behaving like I am that person, but he'll be genuinely not that person. So we need to know that account is genuine, like that person's only, or someone else is behaving like that. So for that, our main purpose is that a common man should also have that facility to get to know that. Like the outcome which you'll be getting is that it will be detecting the account as a fake or a genuine by using ANN models, like I have mentioned above. And then the major changes that will be creating impact is that we will give the solution in which automatic decision of fake profiles can be done, so that the life of common people can be social life of a common man can be become secure.
Yeah.
and challenges which we'll be facing, like few times what happens is that a single user will be having multiple accounts. So, and there we need to be careful. Like few people will not be having the intention of like abusing someone. They'll be having for general purpose only. They'll be having. So that is the one factor we need, which will be challenging. And difficulties in selecting the features. So what are all the features we'll be considering differentiating about the factors and all, like genuine or fake. So we need to be careful about what features we are selecting for the classification. And then one more factor we'll be considering like heterogeneity. Like if we get a text, as I have given sample example like before, sir. If we have an anonymous text, then we can check that we have any common friends or not. So that we can ask them or refer them, like, do you know him or not? So like that, the algorithm will be doing that, sir. It will be checking like if we have any among our friends, does he know someone? So all questions will be done in that algorithm only, sir. And then the methods will be like we first collect the data, and then we go through the pre-processing or collecting, classifying the data which we'll be doing, and reducing of the features which we'll be selecting. We don't need too many number of features to be comparing, sir. We just only need few. So that selection we need to do, and then based on that we will train the model, our data model which we'll be having, and then apply the machine learning algorithms on that, and then at the end we will describe the classification, like it is a fake or real, that will be doing.
Sure. Great. No, this is good. I think I understand what. So when are you planning to complete this project? I would be very curious to know the kind of results which you are seeing. Maybe sometimes later when we speak. I understand the methods and approach. So when are you planning to kind of know what's the project timeline?
Yes, sir. For that we have a schedule, sir. So data collection and evaluation will be giving 1 week.
Okay.
And, we have collected like few of the sample data sets, and for the data pre-processing will be giving 1 week. We are currently on that stage only, sir. Like we just entered into the business statistic part in our Python course, where Fran is explaining. So how to classify the data, how to select particular columns and all. So we are in that stage, and in the next week we'll be moving on the model building, and after that we'll be coming on to the model evaluation and feedback, and after last stage will be deployment, sir.
Okay, sure. Great. Now, I would be very curious to speak to you sometimes later and also understand, like, how this is progressing, because I think I get the concept, what you mentioned. I think the concept is very clear. We'll just need to understand, like, how things are progressing this way. Right? So, okay, good. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So I think in the interest of time, what we would do is we will move on. Maybe the teams which has 2-3 different types of presentations, we will at least have one of them right now. If time permits, we'll have more, so that we get everybody to cover. And then maybe in the further classes, we'll actually have more, right? So let's do it that way, because I see a lot of them having multiple presentations. So let's at least have one of them, and then if time permits, we'll have more. Right? So,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So next is Sridevi Tech, and there are 2 presentations, but out of that, let's have only one presentation for the time being. So which one would you want to go about? There is one for plastic object and the other for snake detection. Sridevi Tech, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, are you there? Sridevi Tech?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So which one are you going to present?
Plastic object detection.
Sorry, I can't hear. Hello?
Plastic object detection.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. We are not able to hear you. We're not able to hear you, Sridevi Tech. Okay, I think there's some connection issue. So while they fix it, let's move on to the next team. Srishti Infotech, are you there? Or Sridevi Tech, are you
Hello,
able
sir.
to? Are you Sridevi Tech? Are you able to speak because we can't hear you?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Soumyajit Dey. Today I am going to explain our project on plastic object detection using AI, driven computer vision.
Okay.
As you all know that plastic problem is the biggest threat to our planet. Unfortunately, India is the one country with most plastic pollution. Only 9% of the plastic will be recycled. Instead of recycling, ends up within the landfills and oceans and water. That's waves. Some microplastic are present in oceans are affecting us via salt water, which are consumed by us, as well as when plastic are burned.
Your voice is breaking. I can't hear anything.
So, in order to hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead. So I understand. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So I understand the introduction, the background and the plastic pollution, etc. So what are you going to do about it? Let's talk about that.
We would like to build an AI-based computer vision capability to identify the plastic objects for picking up them by an autonomous robot scaling in coastal region.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing about it? I'm not understanding. Like, I get the introduction. This is fine. There's a challenge you have talked about. What are we going to do about it?
We'll be explaining it later, sir. In next slides.
Okay, go ahead.
As you all know that 11 million metric tons of plastic enter to our oceans by various means of like industry and humans, etc. Not just a human, it's also harmful to sea turtles. Based on studies done, around 70% of dead sea turtles are found to have eaten plastic. 99% of seabirds have eaten plastic.
Yeah, we understand all these things, but what are you going to do to solve? These are all the problems. We get it. What's the solution? What are you proposing as a solution?
Okay.
Move on to the slides. Let you have a solution.
So, with the help of computer vision, we'll scanning the with the help of computer vision, we're scanning the plastic by the robot.
No, I'm not getting it at all. So I think what you do is, like, firstly, your the voice is not coming clear, and secondly, I'm not getting, like, where is the solution. So you do something. You send me a detailed email or, like, a detailed write up saying, like, these are the 5 things you are doing to save it, and this is how you're doing it. So I'll review that and then I'll give you the feedback.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. What we thought is we just divided slides among us. So the next person who is going to explain it, he'll explain how we'll be doing it and how we'll be collecting the data and so
Yeah,
on.
let us come there. I want the solution. I mean, this is the problems are
Okay, sir. It will be explained.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello, sir. So we are doing this autonomous robot of AI vision could pick up the plastic objects. Um, as in the PPT, we are building a robot that has a vision that will collect the plastics with detecting the color and size and the mass. It is also having the weight detection, which will check the weight because it will have an accuracy of not picking the stones and the other metals. So it will have an trash scanner. It is also have a trash scanner which will collect the plastics, and it is also a compressor which will compress its minimum size, and it will run through an it will charge by an solar panel. From in the daytime it will charge, and it is also working night. So it is a basic idea of how we are building the robot.
Okay.
The plastic are thrown away in an open space or a drainage could be in a different color, shapes, and size. And we are training a model needs to fed with a large sample size to improve the accuracy and have low margin of error. Even if the object is with the secondary analysis on the weight of the object will be enhance the accuracy of weight lesser than the metal or stone or equal volume. With the computer vision, we can scan the ground, detect the plastic object.
Okay, I've understood this. Okay, fine. So I think I get it. I think this part is okay. So when you're talking about an input layer, middle layer, and output layer, basically looking into the different types of plastics and how you are going to be using the deep learning to kind of find this out. I think that is okay. I get the concept now. I think this is fine. What you would need to do is first, I think this slide is very good, right? The previous slides, I think just go to the one previous slide and where you have all the different data. I think the data was very good. You very nicely put together this thing, what you call the number of oceans, how many what were those percentages were, right? I think that's a very good way of kind of presenting this. I really like it. This technical concepts is absolutely fine. Do you also have a business impact concept after this slide? Is there any other slide?
So the business impact in the sense we are just using
Yeah, by doing this, what is the business impact? What is the what is the benefit, or what is the data? How is this going to be an impact, right? Are you going to save so many this thing? Are you going to save a cost? Are you going to do an environment? What is the impact on the environment? So what about those kind of business impact?
So the major impact that it is creating is, as we all know, that there is a Swachh Bharat Abhiyan which is started by Narendra Modi. So it could be helpful in promoting it, sir. Since we are collecting all the plastics either from the ocean sides or the other regions, we are basically reducing plastic pollution and protect plastic pollution. So many of the human beings who are dying because of the consumption of this harmful chemicals when the plastics are get mixed with in the oceans, the number of deaths caused by this could be reduced. So the economic loss could also be reduced of the particular nation. Unfortunately, as it was said before, India is the highly populated country among plastic population. So by doing this, we can greatly reduce the plastic pollution and save number of lives, as well as sea organisms who are surviving in sea. They could also be saved from this plastic pollution.
Understood. No, I think that's clear. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think that is very clear. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now moving on to the next one. Srishti Infotech.
Sir, excuse me, sir. There is one more project from us, sir.
Yeah, we don't have the time today. We will take it up later. That is the snake detection, right? So we will.
Yes, sir, snake
we'll
detection.
take it up later. In the interest of time, I want the others to present as well.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Srishti Infotech. Are you there?
Hi, sir. This is Ashwin here, sir.
Yes, Ashwin. Yeah.
Sir, unfortunately, they're attending. Yeah, sir. They're having a lab exam, sir, today. They're
Okay,
attending.
we'll take it up later. We'll take it up later.
Yes, my kind request, sir.
No
My
problem.
kind
So we have 3 presentations I can see from Srishti. So we will
Yes.
actually take it up later in the next class. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for
let's so whoever has not been able to present today, we'll take it up in the next class.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. SSC Haveri.
Yes, sir, we are ready to present.
All right. You have 2 presentations. So which one would you want to do?
So we want to start with the Raita Mitra.
Okay, fine. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So we are sharing system.
Hello, sir. This
Yes.
is Pooja here.
Yeah.
Our project name is Raita Mitra, sir. Then our project team is Pooja, Sahana, and Ranjana.
Yeah.
Then project supervisors are Bhanu, Ashwin, and Dilip, sir.
Yeah.
Our project, one of the backbone of the Indian economy is agriculture, sir. From nowadays, climatic conditions vary very often, so it is hard to grow crops by understanding weather conditions. Our project is based on mainly crop and fertilizer predictions and leaf disease detection. India is a highly populated country, and a randomly change in the climatic conditions need to secure the world food resources. And farmers face serious problems in the drought conditions, and type of soil plays a major role in the crop yield. And suggesting the use of fertilizers may help the farmers to make a best decision for their cropping situation. The number of studies, information, and common technologies can be applied for prediction of crop yield. By the use of data mining, we can also predict the crop yield. By fully analyze the previous data, we can suggest farmers and for the better crop, for the better yield. Then for the better yield, we need to consider soil type and soil fertility things, and also one of the major factor rainfall and groundwater availability. If it is dry and it is better go to for cash or crop, and if is wetland, it is better to grow for wheat and sugar cane. There are 15 agroclimatic regions in India. These regions are divided on the basis a type of the land. Each agroclimatic region can grow some specific crops. Based on that, we need to suggest the farmer that which crop is best among those crops which belong to those climatic regions. Achieving the maximum crop at a minimum yield is the ultimate aim of the project. Early detection of problems and management of the problems can help to farmers for better crop yield and yield prediction is
Okay,
the
got
important,
understood. So what are you doing about it? Can
which
you come
helps
to the
to secure,
solution?
food.
Can you please come to the solution? I understand the problem and what you're trying to solve. So what are you trying, how are you solving it?
As currently agriculture feed is facing
What's the
this
solution?
helps to farmers to select the right crop for
This is
feed.
understood. What are you doing to solve this? This is all theory I am seeing. What is the actual work that you will do that it will solve this?
We are using various algorithms
What are they?
which gives maximum yield and
What are those algorithms?
leaf diseases.
What are those algorithms?
Once again, CNN, sir. RNN, CNN.
Okay, so my feedback to, I have seen the presentation, my feedback is this is all theory. I do not see anything that is actually happening in practical. Maybe like, you'll be working on it more, maybe in the future classes, we'll be presenting it and we'll be talking. But what you need to do is, while you have identified the problem, and which is absolutely fine, which is a great problem to identify, that part is good, right? But how will you solve that problem? Exactly what are the 5 things you would do? Just by saying I'll be using a particular technology or I'll be using certain things will not help. You have to go in depth to actually say, like, how a particular technology or how a process will actually do the job. There has to be a process map, there has to be a flow chart, there has to be a detailed description of at each stage what is happening, what is the linkage, where is the connecting of the dots. That's not coming out in this presentation at all, right? So I think you will have to work on it. And of course, like, in the end, you will also have to talk about the business impact by helping the farmers. What is the potential, like, impact you are going to make, right? I think that is important. So there are a lot of materials available online in terms of this topic that you have chosen. It's again a very common and very important topic. So I would ask you to do more research. I would ask you to kind of come up with a more detailed flow chart, more detailed, like, step by step, like, processes, so that it's easy for anybody to understand. I think that's my feedback. So let's work on that, and then next time we can talk more about it.
Currently, we are working on currently we are working on data collecting.
Yeah, go ahead. No problem. So whenever in the future, when we are talking, I think you will be more ready to have a more detailed explanation. I think, and that's fine. But what's missing here is, like, the flow chart or the process or the exact numbers, right? So there has to be a connecting of the dots. So that's missing. So you work on it, no problem. And then in the future classes or something like that, when we interact, we'll kind of hear more about this.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so moving to Vaishali Bellary.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So there are 2 presentations: solar tracking and IoT based. Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes. So there are 2 presentations, Vaishali. I think, like, which is the one which you would want to present? Let's talk about it.
We would like to present on IoT-based solar tracking and monitoring.
Okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Our teammate Anusha will start with this.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Anusha.
Yeah.
Our project is based on solar tracking and monitoring system. Here are my teammates: Akhil B, Anusha, Tina, Sunita, and Shweta. Introduction. It is based on solar tracking and monitoring. So solar tracker, in the sense, it tracks the sun's rays. Here we are placing the solar panels according to the sun's direction, and it rotating according to the sun. And here it monitoring the performance of the solar panel from time to time. And sensors here used to check charge percent, warranty date, and it notify through a message. Here, the purpose of this project is we are using Arduino to develop dual access to solar tracking and IoT monitoring system. Here there are user benefits. Those are impact on the environment. Here it is not harmful to the environment. While using solar energy, it is not any harmful effect to the environment and reduces user energy bill. Here using net metering systems, only user paying deficit power consumed. Only they are paying only deficit power consumed, and solar energy is applicable everywhere.
Yeah, understood. These user benefits, I've seen that. Like now let's come on to how are you solving it? What are the steps you are doing to solve it or create this?
Here there are technical concepts. Solar here photovoltaic panels are to monitor concentrate solar radiations using to generate electricity that are stored in they are storing in the batteries. And we are using Arduino Uno as a main controller to develop 2-axis solar tracking. We are using dual axis to get more electricity, more energy from the solar panels. And to develop this project, 4 light dependent resistors also used to detect the sunlight. And we are using servo motors to rotate the panels according to the sun's direction. And IoT monitoring system is a website that functions to store the data. And here we are comparing a single axis solar tracker and dual axis solar tracking. We are using a dual axis solar tracker to generate more power, voltage and power.
Okay, great. Thank you. So my feedback would be these technical concepts are absolutely fine, right? Can you represent this in a more of a visual way so that it is easy for the users to also understand what is happening at each step, right? And this is a feedback which I have also provided to the other teams today earlier, that a visual representation is always important because then you know that in which block what's happening, what is step number 1, what is step number 2. So if you're saying, for example, the 2 servo motors to be used to rotate, right? So this is coming at what step? Is it coming at the step number 1? Is it coming at step number 2? Is it coming at step number 3? I think that will be clearer, right? Same if you are saying you're using an IoT monitoring system is a website that functions to store the data. The efficiency of the system has been tested and compared with a single axial solar tracker, right? This is theory. This is purely technical theory, right? Anybody who does a Google search will understand this. Okay, but the point is how are you applying that theory? Where is the application? The application thing will come in the presentation only if you are taking this theory and trying to create a process or a flow chart. That is where the application is going to come, and that is where somebody who is listening to the presentation will be able to understand, right? That's my feedback. So there's nothing wrong with the technical concepts. There is nothing wrong at all with the user benefits, etc. We all understand that, right? But how do you present it? I think that's important.
So here are methods and materials. In that we are using Arduino board. This servo motor have in that picture. One screen is up. So can you see the slide?
Not yet.
So 1 second. Sir.
Stop sharing. I mean, and again share.
So now is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible, but it is very tiny. And again, this is a visual which I'm seeing is basically technical. You are talking about it's a LDR top right, LDR top left. This is all technical, right? I'm talking, while this is okay, this is only for a technical person, but then I'm talking about a presentation or a concept where how do you simplify it? What is the first step that happens? You have identified a particular problem and you are trying to solve that problem. In order to solve that problem, what are the 5 things you need to do? Correct. One of the methods is like, obviously implementation of LDR, etc., which is fine. So maybe you can have one section in the flowchart which talks about like an LDR, right? Then what are the other things you are going to kind of do? So where does that flow happens from the LDR implementation? Where does it come to? Is that come to a particular place where like the data is stored? Are you kind of then breaking down the data, etc.? So what's the end-to-end solution that is the visual representation that is required? This one visual representation is fine, but this is very technical, right? It's only a technical thing. So if somebody in your audience is not a technical person, they will not understand this. Right? So in a presentation, you should always break it down in the form of a story or a narrative. The narrative is, this is the problem, this is the benefits, this is the process, this is how I'm going to use the process, what are the 5 things I'm going to do or 6 things I'm going to do, right? And then like, the benefits and the business impact, that is the cost analysis or whatever the business impact is, that is how you should present it. Right? So work on this, think about it, and we can talk sometimes later and we brainstorm together. Yeah, otherwise good. Otherwise, I think the concept is good. Your project choice is good. Your technology, what you're suggesting is good. It is all only about how you're representing that in a more interesting way, right? So it's a good one, by the way. Okay, all right. Let's move on to SST Bidar. Are you there?
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sir, myself Neha here, and Vinod from from Bidar side. Sir,
Yeah.
we are a group of 4 people: Neha, Vinod, Vaishnavi, and Preeti.
Yeah.
But since Vaishnavi and Preeti both are in college right now, so we two will be presenting. Me and Vinod.
Sure. And I think your project is
Well-
around yoga pose, right?
Right, sir. Our
Right.
project is about yoga pose detector and classification using deep learning. So I'll just
Okay,
share my
fine.
screen.
Yeah.
So please let me know once my screen is
Yeah,
visible.
we are able to see that.
Thank you, sir. So like we have chosen this project because like we have noticed one thing in the times of COVID and during this busy schedules of everyone, that people don't have enough time, or maybe they are they are not introvert, they are not extrovert enough to be in a group and practice yoga, or maybe they don't have enough money, or they cannot afford yoga teacher, or maybe it could be any reason that they are not compatible enough, comfortable enough to go to yoga classes, or maybe have a personal yoga trainer. So what they opt in this busy schedules and this kind of scenario is they are looking forward for an easy step. Like everyone is having smartphones and laptops available, so they are looking for online yoga. Now the major disadvantage of online yoga is they are not able to correct their postures. Like let's say if I want to do chakrasana today, I don't know like how I should start doing it, or what should be my basic first step, and how I should go to the actual pose, right? So
Yeah.
what we have thought is we'll design a application using deep learning, neural network, and computer vision, that it will take the image of the user. Let's say if I want to learn yoga, I am a beginner and I want to learn yoga. So what it will do is it will ask me if I'm a beginner, what kind of my expertise is in yoga. So it will be beginner. Now on the basis of my expertise, it will tell me, it will let me know like on day 1 what should be my actual step 1 for doing chakrasana, like how I should lie down and in what angles it should be. Like we have taken various data sets from Google Kaggle. So what it will do, it will let us know what how you need to lie down, and if it will ask me to lie down instead also.
Yeah.
And once I lie down, it will capture my image and using computer vision, and it will calculate the angle, the joint angles, and it will compare it with the data sets that we have chosen. Using neural network, it will do the comparison between the two, and then it will calculate the result, and it will display it to me, asking me that these are the angles where you need to correct yourself, and these are the angles whether where you are okay, you don't need any modification. On the basis of that, it will guide me that yes, this is wrong, this is right, you need to do it, and again it will ask me to perform that angle, perform that pose. Again performing that pose, again it will calculate the difference of angle, joint angles, and again it will guide me. This process will go on until the time I correct my poses. So this was the one example how it helps. There are multiple poses like vakasana, and mountain pose, hill pose, right? So what this does is, if the people are learning yoga by themselves, right, they there is a very high possibility that they might hurt themselves, like muscular diseases, muscular injury, or maybe bone injury. If they fall down, they don't have someone to help them out, right? So using our application, using our build this application, there is a very high possibility that people might save themselves from hurting them.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So, sir,
Thank
this
you.
is a short PPT that
Thank you. I've seen the presentation, and I think it's very, 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 very well done, because I think, and this is something like, which probably should be also shared with the, I would request, the faculties to actually share this presentation with the rest of the teams as well, right? Because it very clearly shows that how a presentation should be done. What is the problem statement? How are you gathering the problem statement, and then typically breaking it down very nicely into the application part of it, the visual part of it, the steps part of it, right? So I think that's a very good example, because in the presentation I see you have to first talked about the history, which is very important in terms of as you called out, what are the different postures, right? Then you're talking about how an image processing, like an X frame, Y frame, and a Z frame, and the posture images are getting classified using the particular technology. Then you are also talking about how typically at what point in time the technology is helping to identify the posture. So there is a method of detection, there is an image processing that happens, there is an encoder, there is a localizer. So all these things are called out in the way which makes it easy for the user to understand, right? I would be very keen to Neha to speak with you more about it in the future. I would like to know how this this project is progressing. How can we make a good case out of it? What could be a real implication? Because I think in today's healthcare and this the situation that we are in, I think this would be a really, really good, a very relevant project. So I'll be very curious to talk to you sometimes later and keep a track of how this is progressing. But this is really a good presentation. Very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And I think we are left with one, and that would be your VVS Shapura Agro Products. This is which team? VVS, right? So web development, VVS team. Are you there? Under the guidance of Ashwin, Ramesh, I can see a presentation of around web development and agro products. VVS Shahpur. Are you there? I can't hear. I think you're on mute. VVS Computer, I think you're on mute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay. So you'd want to present about this? VVS Computers, Shahpur. Okay, if you're not able to present it, we'll take it up in the next class or something, but I don't know where is the challenge. Is it the computer or the internet or what is it? Are you there, VVS?
Yeah, sir, present.
Okay. So are you going to talk about the presentation you have shared?
Organic products, sir.
Sorry?
Presentation based on organic products, sir.
Yes. So what are you doing with it?
Sir, after few minutes, I will present it, sir.
I don't think we have time after a few minutes because we are ending the session. It's almost time. So if you are unable to present today, do you have more? Are you the only one available or are there more team members? Are you the only team member or there are more team members?
Sir, this is L2 faculty, sir. Asma, actually. They have 4 members, sir. Actually, they have 4 members.
Yeah.
They have exams today, sir. That's why they will present in the next session, sir.
Okay, fine. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is fine. I think then we can end the class today. Thank you all for the presentations and the discussions. And my request would be, like, whatever feedbacks we discussed, if you are able to implement them, if you are able to carry on with the project, and I'll be very keen to follow and also understand how the presentations and the work that you all are doing is progressing. Maybe whenever we meet later, either online or if you get a chance to meet in person sometime, I would definitely want to discuss these things more, right? So thank you, and we'll see again in the next class, right? All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.